So I finally found parking, for free of course. I asked the guy at over there and he let me through. Since I have a bicycle, I just feel it's inherently wrong to have to pay car parking prices for a bicycle. Let's check this out.
You collect. It's like Victorian furniture, mostly lighting. You're not going to find any Victorian furniture. You've got some pretty darn good stuff there. I don't have any Victorian furniture, but antique. Are all half the market price there. You work?
I can't really say.
Oh, okay. But it's not like Tesla or, I mean, there's so many, we make a bunch of stuff for electric cars where I work.
Yeah.
And it's getting huge, right? I mean, it's just incredible. The technology is amazing. And then even the big auto manufacturers are moving out here, to be in Silicon Valley for their future design stuff. 'Cause it's all shifting to digital electronics and wireless.
What would you take for these four?
What was I? 18.
Does that count as a small tool?
$15. Yeah.
That sounds good.
All right.
I've been here for like 5 minutes and already got some good stuff. This all looks like junk over here. Oh, is this your stand? How much for the Atari games? Okay.
I sell it for 3 or 5, but now 2 with you.
Would you take? How many would you give for $10?
No, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 18. Give me 12.
12 for all?
Good deal. Really, I want to sell.
An old projector. Video games. Oh, this is looking good. Never mind. Oh, solar panels. Riveter. Oh my god, how many hats do you need to sell? So many hat booths.
I gotta go to church.
What's the price on the Atari?
Atari 65.
Oh. If I don't find anything good, I'm going to offer 38 for that Atari. Lots of games. That's a weird gray case. Oh, this one has a bunch of crates. That's good, because crates mean junk. And junk means cheap.
Down. Down there, not that far.
It's a tuning eye. Yet again, more hats. What is it with people and all their hats? I mean, come on. I saw one guy wearing 6 hats a little back. I don't know, just... I guess Californians love their hats, or they can't stand the sun.
Oh, I used to play this all the time. Oh my god. Snowboarding 10 minis.
Yes, I actually have that in my house.
Yeah.
It's a nice device. Well, that's it for the flea market. I'm not going to bother with the places out here. I'm just going to go home and look at all the stuff I got. I only ended up paying like 35 bucks for all this stuff. Those are nice bikes. Now that was a fun time. I think I'm going to go and do this more frequently. It's a bag full of stuff. So we're back to the garage, and here's the tools I got. These are pretty nice, I think. They're about $4 a piece. That's not too bad. This is pretty much a copy of the one I already have, but I couldn't pass it out. This one's going to be nice. Be nice to restore these. I may mess around with, like, tumbling them in sand. That'd be kind of interesting. But I can look at different things. I might just end up using a wire brush to brush them off a little bit, and then I'll just clean them up by using them, because that's the best way to clean things up. Then over here we have the video games that I purchased. I'm quite happy with these. It was $12 for all of these. So that's like, what, 90 cents a piece? That's not too bad. Atari games are usually pretty cheap. It's really nice that Atari games have not seen the explosion in price that like Nintendo and Super Nintendo games have, because pretty much anything after Atari, the price is gonna dip down extremely low and then it'll go up extremely high. Like right now, PlayStation 2 games are still on the very low point, but they're starting to get back up. Pretty soon, like in 10 years or whatever, everybody that had a PlayStation 2 as a kid and that now has a bunch of money is going to be putting much money into their PlayStation 2 collection. Those PlayStation 2 games will be worth a lot of money. I'm not really sure if the Nintendo games before that will start going down, though, because it seems like they go up and they just kind of, the prices stay up. They stay a high price. Oh, well. But yeah, Atari has escaped that. Probably because there's so many games for the Atari. That's actually why they had the North American video game crash of 1983, because there was just like 7,000 different games for the Atari, and stores just didn't want to have to mess with that anymore because they weren't selling. I got this Legacy of the Wizard. It looked interesting, especially for $7. Especially with that sticker on there. I really want to peel that away. It's a shame that the guy put that price tag on that sticker, but that sticker is probably worth more to me than the game itself, although the game does look kind of fun if it's like an RPG. But yeah, that's mostly why I bought it, just because, well, if it was like $4, I'd probably get the game, but then $7 with the sticker, it seems kind of good, because I don't know, it's just kind of interesting. I always love getting games that have like Blockbuster on the back, or something where they have more of a history, like you can tell, like, oh, it's been through a retail shop or a rental shop or whatever. Also picked up another controller. This one looks okay for $6. Everything feels okay. I think I have this one, and I think all these ones are new to me. I've played this one, but only like on like a plug and play game, not in the actual cartridge. Kaboom! I think I may have that one. Vanguard. That one has a very stupid commercial for it. Skyjinx, as in hijinks. I don't know. I've seen the Angry Video Game Nerd talk about this boxing game. Anything with sports like that just doesn't seem very interesting to me. So, most of the Atari library isn't very interesting. Coupled with how most Atari games are so bland that they're not very fun, I only collect them because they're super cheap and they're interesting to a certain point. But if these games cost any more than like $4 a piece, I would not even bother collecting them. There was a guy back there at the flea market that had an entire Atari for $65. It's a little overpriced for me. If I find one for $35, I might buy one, but I already have two back in Illinois. Unfortunately, they don't work. Oh well. Now, I actually bought a couple things before today. One was another NES controller, so now I have two controllers for my Nintendo. I was actually looking for an old television at the flea market, but I guess nobody's going to lug around a 1980s television. Oh well. One of my subscribers said that he lives around here, and he has an old television he'll give me, just it's kind of iffy about when he'll get over here. So I'll just wait for him to drop it by, because that'd be pretty cool. It's a big 16-inch one, almost exactly like the one I had back in Illinois. But I got a few other things that I'm pretty excited about. Look at this. So I've kind of gotten back into Metroid. I really want to play the original, and then since I keep thinking about wanting to play the original, I also wanted to play some of the newer ones. So I ran to GameStop and got this for like $10. Metroid Other M. I've heard really good stuff about it. Well, I've heard bad stuff from the people that don't like the same games that I like, but I've heard good stuff from the people that like the same games that I do like. So yeah, I've heard reviews that make it think that I want to play that. So I can't wait to get my Nintendo Wii out here and play that. That'd be pretty cool. Or I might bring that back to Illinois and play it over some time when I'm back there. I don't know. But then I got this. I'm used to the older Metroid cartridge, where it's more of the 8-bit graphics. And unfortunately, getting that in the box is like over $100. But this looks a bit cooler in my opinion. This is the re-release from 1992. And so I got that. This was only $60 for this. It's a bit pricey, but when you think about it, it's almost like a brand new game, because it comes with everything. We have the game inside the Nintendo sleeve, which this Nintendo sleeve looks a lot different than I'm used to. It's like a foil coating on the red, not just red. It's like a little reflective. That's kind of cool. And of course we have the little piece of paper to tell you not to watch the game if you can't stand flickering screens. We have the manual, which is actually in color. I'm not used to getting game manuals in color. Now this is the original game manual, still re-released. So they didn't update it about Samus being female. They still have he in there. And then at the end they still have the part about the mystery at the end, which is the big reveal that Samus is actually a female. Which isn't that big of a reveal anymore, but back in the day, that was a pretty big reveal. And then, of course, we have a Nintendo Power poster. I really do miss this magazine. Although in the later years, it was basically just a really crappy advertisement for Nintendo. They didn't even say when the games were going to be released. Because I remember always reading about games like Super Mario Galaxy, not knowing when Super Mario Galaxy was going to come out. You'd think if they're going to go through all the trouble of talking about just Nintendo games, they're going to set the release dates. I don't know. Then, of course, we have this. That's a nice poster. It's a little later than the ones I've usually seen. I'm used to the earlier ones from like 1987 or 1988. This one's from 1990, though. Because, of course, the earlier posters had earlier games on them. Like, it wouldn't have Zelda 2. It wouldn't have Snake Rattle and Roll. That's for sure. And it would have more things like like Gyromite and stuff like that. Yeah, maybe Legend of Zelda and Super Mario Brothers 2. But usually just Legend of Zelda, Super Mario Brothers, Tetris, and Donkey Kong. A couple other ones. Ooh, Final Fantasy. So let's see. I have Metroid right there. I have Super Mario Bros. 2, which is on there, and I have Snake Rattle and Roll, which is right there. Haha, this is so nice. I don't know if I'm interested in many of the other games, though. I would like to get Final Fantasy in the box. Back in Illinois, at the Steam Engine Festival, at the flea market around the Steam Engine Festival, or the Fall Festival, or whatever, the Jacksonville Fall Festival. The name changes every time I say it. Some people were selling a Final Fantasy game new in the box with the manual for $60. I don't know if I'm gonna pay $60 for Final Fantasy in the box though. Seems a bit high. I only paid $60 for Metroid because I really like the game, but Final Fantasy, I played a little bit on the Virtual Console and it was just more of a grind fest. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. I really want to get into making the map for Metroid again. I mean, sure, I have the map printed out from like 2004 or 2005, just from a JPEG I pulled off the internet. But I want to do similar to what me and my mom did with the Legend of Zelda series, where we just drew out the entire map of Hyrule, for the first game at least. Then finally what I got was this, some 27128 EEPROMs. These EEPROMs are compatible with this ROM programmer. So I may be able to get this thing working and program some NES games. I'll probably take WrestleMania, rip the ROMs out of that, and make a programmable cartridge. That'd be pretty cool. I'm not really sure if I'll be able to interface with this too easily, so I may just go on the internet and get a $30 EEPROM programmer. But we can take the innards out of this thing if it doesn't work. We can look at those innards, which are really old and really cool, probably. And we can put the innards of the other EEPROM programmer into here. So I can still run it through here. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, got these. They are 128 kilobytes, or 128 kilobits each. Here we have them. Let's look at that. These are wonderful to look at underneath the microscope because of the crystal window you have to the microchip. So basically with these, if you want to erase them, you set them out in the sun for a little bit, and the UV light will erase it. Or you get a nice little like UV eraser, you put it inside there, turn on the ultraviolet light, and it erases it in about 10 or 15 minutes. But I've heard some of the older ones, after they've been used for quite a bit, they can take some longer time to erase. Or they won't even work at all. But oh well. Now this chip holder is actually pretty cool because it says Zilog on it. Now that is cool. Zilog made a lot of the earlier CPUs. That's like having one saying Intel, but if only Intel didn't make processors after the 80s. You know, like if they stopped making processors, it's like, ooh, that's kind of rare. Now you could probably find an Intel one a little bit easier, but yeah. Actually, I guess Zilog did keep making processors. Never mind. They just weren't as common after like the 80s or 90s. They were more for smaller systems like the Game Boy and embedded systems, I think. Because they went into like they went from the CPU market to the microcontroller market. So this is the best 4th of July I've ever had. Although I usually don't celebrate 4th of July since it's more of just kind of an annoying Americanized... Well, yeah, it is a very Americanized day. In the United States, you can't go anywhere without somebody waving a flag or something like that, whether it be Confederate or United States flag. There's always just a bunch of idiots that are super patriotic, and that's just... It turns me off so much. Just, it's annoying. But yeah, this is pretty fun. I'm going to have to start going to that flea market more often. Probably every month. Yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. See ya!